part of being naked and not ashamed. They go together. They're complementary to one another. And sometimes we start stripping and we're like, oh no. We're not ready for that to come out. No. I have a saying, it's like we ask God to deliver us, but we give him a spoon knowing we need a shovel. That's what the stripping part feels like. So it really connected with me when you all lifted up loneliness, because I lived in a church, y'all, that church with bad Wi-Fi, so I didn't have TV. Like one radio station that was only contemporary gospel. That was it. That was the only thing that played on it. Finding myself there after feeling like in my life I had done everything right. So just and to see my life interrupted. So to take it back a few years, when I was married to my previous husband, he committed a crime, got incarcerated. So out of nowhere, 2 months after having a baby, my ex-husband was getting arrested and the police were at our house searching through our stuff. Having to experience that case was a hard thing of like, God, what are you doing? I did everything right. I went to college, I got married, then I had kids, then I got a house. And I felt like God was taking my life for a joke. Cause I was like, come on, I'm doing everything right. This is supposed to happen to somebody else, right? So that's the first phase of dismantling our own pillars that we put ourselves on, the expectations we have. And I talk about that. And while I'm getting naked is, sometimes we find ourselves in positions that we question God, why? But I err on the side of caution because it then becomes idolatrous, because now you're putting your expectations and your wants and desires. I didn't imagine in that time when my ex-husband was then incarcerated and I'm looking at a 2-month-old and a 2-year-old trying to figure out, I didn't know what was going to happen. I hadn't seen a village. I hadn't seen community. I didn't even really know my neighbors. We had just moved in. We hadn't even been there a year. And all of this happened, life interrupted. But that fed and informed me in my naked journey as to, I had to trust God when I couldn't trace him. Because going through the criminal justice system and not being bitter, like I was in one night, in 24 hours, I became a statistic and didn't even realize it. And I had all these questions to God, like, why me? You know, you hear the cliche, why not me? I did not want to hear that. That was not something I wanted to hear. Get out of here with that. No, that's not what I signed up for. That was not my lot. Again, this supposed to be somebody else's, because I had my checklist and I did stuff right? And it was that moment of vulnerability that I couldn't lean to my own understanding. I had to acknowledge God in all my ways for what was ahead of me, which was a lot of unknown, so that God could direct my path. And when it came to directing my path, I was like, well, am I really supposed to be looking for a yellow brick road? But yeah, that really is what it feels like, because you are navigating a path that may not have had someone survive it before you. Welcome to your forerunner status. You know, so that vulnerability sometimes is you're being naked in that moment, which when you think about it from an illumination, you have moved some things that were dimming its way, your light from coming out. Some failures, some disappointment, some rejection, some condemnation, whether it was self-condemnation or the condemnation of those around us that would judge the life that we were living on our journey. So we feel like we got to fix it up. That vulnerability helps you kind of even the playing field a little bit better. If you don't get stuck trying to deny, and that becomes ego and pride, right? Trying to deny the process and that journey and leaning into it. And sometimes we do need people that we can connect to in our vulnerability. Being able to have that safe space, that good girlfriend. And if you don't have it and your good girlfriend is your journal, then journal, sis. Write that stuff down, because now it becomes a reflection of what you've been through. So these books just like these ladies said, is yes, it's vulnerability. But now I got something to look back at and be like, I survived this. I overcame this. This did not break me. And it's not, and honestly, 2021 release, 2023 release. I actually wrote it 2011, wrote it 2012. So even if you're in the writing process and you feel like I've missed my window, I can't get started because I can't get it together, like, just keep walking. Take the steps. In its appointed time, it will come to pass. The very things I wrote about in 2011 and 2012 were in here and relevant in 2021 and 2023 still. I wouldn't have imagined that. I thought it was over. I was like, no, I'm healed. Nobody else needs that. They don't need this part of my nakedness. They don't need that. But that vulnerability to know that people are going to see themselves in this book, and I couldn't be worried about that. I couldn't worry that, oh my gosh, somebody's gonna think I'm talking about that. No, it's me, it's my nakedness, but it might fit your testimony too, if we're honest.